Hey, welcome back.
Hey, you missed us, I hope. Well, we missed you anyway. Hey,
We'll turn on the old lamp.
turn on the old lamp and welcome to the sunshiny episode in the heart of winter.
Darkest of times.
That's right, baby. You're tuning in to The Island,
Island
Shuffle,
Shuffle.
starring me, Bean Levier.
And me, James Brown.
And we watched the show on this show. We watched the show on this show.
We watch the one and only show, Lost.
It's called Lost. It's about a crazy island where shit goes nowhere near how you think it's going to go. Because it's crazy on that island.
I'm surprised every episode.
Every episode's a treat. The hook of the show, if you haven't heard us before, is that we watch it out of order. Or we watch it in the wrong order dictated by chaos. And what episode did we watch this week?
This week, Chaos chose Season 3, Episode 5, The
Great.
Cost of Living.
Great. What's this episode have to do with anything?
This episode taps deep into the psyche of Mr. Eko.
Oh, Mr. Eko.
We go back in time. We visit Mr. Eko's home country,
Yes.
which is, I forget where.
I believe it is. Hey, you forget where? Well, listen. I've got just the resource to clear such a thing up. Let me just reach over here.
We have. So Bean has graciously discovered that your brother has owned this lost encyclopedia.
Yes, my when I went home for the holidays, Happy New Year to all and everyone, especially you, James Brown. But by the way,
Thank you. You too.
So when I went home back to New Brunswick for the holidays, my brother, who listens to this podcast, hey, okay, my brother who listens to this podcast and also was a fan of Lost at the time, showed me this that he got for his birthday once upon a time, which is the Lost Encyclopedia, which is
It's a crazy book. It's way bigger than I assumed it would be.
It's enormous. It is the size of a cutting board and the thickness of a, I guess, textbook.
Yeah.
Like-
Yeah, it is a textbook.
It's a big textbook, and it's just like a bunch of like. So I just opened it to this random page, and it's just a
Oh,
bunch
that's
of
the thing that
images.
they showed. What's his name?
yeah,
Ben's daughter's boyfriend.
Yeah,
This is the scary video,
Yeah, this
but
is the
put
scary
into
video.
still images.
Yeah,
Wow.
but like mostly it's just like, hey,
Danielle.
want to read 2 pages about Danielle Rousseau? Well, guess
Hell
what?
yeah.
Here's her entire history.
We have several pictures of her.
Here's every single person Charlie Pace is connected to. Every
Hell yeah.
and the time.
Liam Pace.
Here's just some
Oh,
knives.
weapons.
Here's just
There's-
knives
we
and
found
weapons.
the weapons
Just
page.
Big page full of guns and bows and arrows and everything you could hope for. Let me close it so you can get a good perspective on how. Let me see if you can hear how
Little
thumpy it
heft.
is. That's a
Ow!
whap. That's a whap.
Now that is a Christmas close. That's what I call that.
Oh yeah.
But where does that come from?
Mr. Eko is from. I'm going to guess Nigeria. I think.
Oh yeah, I think that might be true.
But guess what? We can confirm it. It's all alphabetical. Hijkl.
Oh really? I guess that's how an encyclopedia works.
Exactly. Not mother. Want to learn about Montan? There's a page about Montan. I don't know who Montan is, but we can learn about him.
He invented that soup.
He sure did. Several
Monton
misters.
soup.
Maybe it's on E for Echo.
Is it just Echo?
It
Yeah.
might just be Echo.
I like calling him Mr. Echo. I think it's a way better name.
It's so much cooler. Here he is.
Here we go.
Echo.
Echo.
The Nigerian man, known as
Echo
Echo.
is the Nigerian man. You should give a sample of how they write this because I thought it would be more referential to like in episode 5 of season 3 this took place.
No, it's very much closer to like here's a sum up of Mr. Eko's entire life. I'll just give you the start. The Nigerian man, known as Echo, lived a life that was a study in contrasts. As an impoverished young boy in Africa, Echo had nothing to call his own, yet he was willing to steal, cheat, or lie to provide for his beloved little brother, which is actually the first scene we see in this episode.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Yummy. While the church called those things sins, for Echo they were necessary tools required to survive streets run by ruthless guerrilla fighters and drug lords. Yet, when faced with the choice of entering a life of violence as a militia member so that his brother could be free, Echo took the darker path so that Yemi could follow the light.
Wow.
That also saves us the trouble of summing up Eko's deal, I guess.
It's written like the back of a DVD.
Yes, it's a textbook-sized back of the DVD case that goes into all the details of like, hey, want to read a paragraph about the guy Saeed interacted with one time? Guess what? You can do it here. Thanks.
That's incredible.
Thanks, Lost Encyclopedia.
That's incredible.
It's a heck of a tome, and I doubt this will be the first time we.
Do you ever
reference
notice
it.
how I always feel like the part of the bookstore that has that stuff is like the most fucked up part of the bookstore? Like all the books are sort of strewn all over the place because it's the type of book that people like pick up and look at for a second, I guess.
It's nuts.
And none of the books are a standard size as well. I guess that's you all know what I'm talking about. That part of the bookstore.
Yeah, that part of the bookstore. I haven't been in a bookstore outside of Indigo's in a long ass time.
Hell yeah.
And Indigo's, they keep it fresh. Is it Indigo's or just Indigo?
I like Indigos.
I like Indigos too.
I like Mr. Eko and I like Indigos.
Oh man, we're making decisions about what we like and what we don't like here.
Hell yeah.
I mean, that's what this show's about. It's about our hottest takes. You want to start on this crazy ass episode?
Yeah, for sure. Do you want to start with the backstory of Mr. Eko? Because I feel like it is lit.
It is definitely pretty good. So we open with a scene of, like we said in the encyclopedia, young Eko busting open some food for young Yemi, but then they get busted by the cops, by which I mean the priest. And then the priest says,
the church cop.
The church cop says, confess your sin. Stealing is a sin. It doesn't matter that he's hungry. Go confess. And then, and that sets up the theme for a very God-heavy episode.
It's a God-episode, everybody.
Everybody, it's been a while since we've flexed our religion on this show. But,
hell yeah.
But guess what? What if right and wrong were a thing and a God also happened?
Hell yeah. Why not?
Heaven, yeah.
Heaven, yeah.
Is what I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Think about it. Oh, my God, you mean.
Did I ever tell you about the time I shot up the Lord's name?
Was it in vain?
Yeah, it was a real sin.
Oh, fuck you. Oh, boy.
So, does Eko ever confess to that? I guess it like leaves before we get to see it.
Yeah,
or something?
we kind of, it's kind of left unsaid. He goes into the confession booth, but what he says in there, well, that's for Eko, a lonely.
That's for lonely old Eko.
That's for lonely old Eko.
Mr. Eko, a.k.a. the lonely, lonely man.
The lonely, lonely man Eko. The next flashback we see is shortly after his brother Yemi has died in an
an
incident. We kind of
these flashbacks are not. Oh no, they are linear. They're linear.
But we do get he's like dreaming, and we get kind of a sum up of his backstory, which we haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
But the gist of it is basically he was going to go. He was a drug lord, and he was going to fly some drugs on a plane. But
classic drug lord.
And he was going to be disguised as a priest because that was the only way to get a plane.
Oh yeah, it was priest or military.
But Yemi shows up and says, no, you can't do this. And when Yemi shows up, so does the military. And the shootout ensues. And Yemi dies in the shootout. And Eko is left behind when the plane takes off. And that plane lands on the island.
Oh, that's the island plane,
and
everybody.
And it's full of heroin that Charlie loves. And it also has Yemi's body on it. I forget how Yemi's body ends up on it. Yeah. And when Eko gets back, Eko's just like, well, I guess I have to assume Yemi's identity now. Yeah. And he does that.
He doesn't assume his identity, though. He just assumes the identity of a priest.
Right, yeah,
and says, like, Yemi's gone now.
Yeah, that's right. People show up and they're like, hey, where's Yemi? And he's like, he's just gone now. Are you the new priest? And he's just like, I guess so. And
yeah.
It's some real hijinks.
It is a real hijinks, and this is an area that they didn't go with it, but this just offers so much potential for slapstick comedy.
The next scene we see, I think, is there's an altar boy, and Eko's like washing his hands in the holy water, and the altar boy goes, "You can't do that." That's holy water. And Eko says, instead of saying something funny and comical, he says, I'm washing away my sins.
That's a little funny and comical.
It's a little funny and comical, I
But
guess.
they could have done 10 or 12 more of those.
Yeah.
He could have been grilling the, like, because in this
Yeah.
situation, Eko needs to find out how church works.
Exactly. And so so people are like, oh, I just love that Bible. Hey, Eko, what's your favorite Bible verse? And he's like,
I don't know, verse 2?
Jimmy 20? I don't know.
Jimmy 20, Jimmy Eat World.
Jimmy Eat World. The middle.
I love the whole middle of the book.
The whole middle of the Bible.
Chapter 7.
The Middle Testament.
But what is your favorite Bible verse?
The one about... I definitely actually had one once upon a time.
Oh, really?
I think so. I used to be much more up on that.
I like-
As long as we're talking about God.
Yeah. That's a little John 3:16. A lot of people make signs out of that one.
Yeah, that's a classic one. Yeah, I can't think because there's that one psalm that's in the episode, but yeah, it's fine, I guess.
Yeah, I want to get a real good one, a
There's-
real out there one that's
there's-
like a little bit fucked up.
There's definitely some sick ass shit. I'm definitely pretty into. I'm pretty sure there's one where Jesus says, because I think "eye for an eye" is a Bible verse.
Oh hell yeah!
And then there's a whole section of the New Testament that's just Jesus dunking on Old Testament Bible verses and
Hell
being
yeah.
like, "Here's why this is bullshit."
yeah,
and
that's
he-
what I want.
And I think he has one where he says, "An eye for an eye would make the world go blind," or something to that
Yeah.
effect.
I've heard that before.
Yeah.
Hell yeah!
Mm-hmm.
Now this is what you've came here
Yeah, Bible time.
for. This is Chill Verse 99
this-
coming at you from the freeway.
That's right, baby. We're a Christian rock radio station now. And you know what? We've all got our favorite Bible verses.
Yeah, exactly. Because
I-
at the end of the day, Lost is weirdly a religious television
Yes,
show.
and none more so than now.
Yeah.
Oh, it gets way more religious later, but it's still
Yeah.
pretty. But it's still pretty heavy
It's
on the.
pretty
God stuff.
heavy on the God. God is doing a lot of heavy lifting in this episode.
And honestly, thanks God.
It's super dope.
It's super dope.
So the bad boys come in. So he's just being a priest.
Yeah, he's just being a priest, living his life, and the bad boys come in. They're firing their
They're
guns in the air.
shooting guns.
They're going yeehaw!
Oh, look out, everybody! We're 5 guys in a pickup truck.
5 guys in a pickup truck. We got the big guns, and we're here to say, who the heck's this guy? We had an arrangement with Yemi to buy a whole bunch of vaccines off of you guys.
Not really buy them, more so steal
More so steal them in exchange for quote unquote protection. And everybody wins. And Eko is just like, whatever to you clowns, I'm not afraid of you. And this causes some unease. I think the guy, like, in response to this, the bad guy just shoots a stranger.
He kills a lady.
Kills a lady, and then he's like, "Come on, it's gonna be worse if you don't just, He pulls that.
You want more blood on your hands,
That's
Mr. Man?
Mr. Lonely, Lonely Man."
And Eko doesn't say, yeah, the lonely. I know how lonely you are, sir.
I can tell.
I'll start killing the people around you, make you even more lonely.
Honestly, master plan.
Yeah, it is all about loneliness with Eko.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, we all understand
Yeah,
that
it's-
a little bit.
That's why he's such a human and relatable character.
What if Eko's name was Brad?
Bradley.
Yeah. Then he
think-
wouldn't be as cool.
No, he would be so. You can. Let's get a cool Bradley out there. I think.
Yeah.
I think it's time to reclaim Bradley.
Yeah, the best one they've got is Bradley Cooper.
He's fine.
He's a fine Bradley.
He's
fine at
fine.
best.
He's all right. He's charming when he needs to be. He voices the funny rocket in the one movie, the funny raccoon who talks and mouths off.
What's that from?
We're Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, I've never seen that, actually.
What if I just said, like, The Simpsons or some shit like that?
You know that Bible verse with the funny raccoon? It was voiced by Bradley Cooper.
Oh, no, I was reading the Sunday Funnies.
That's my Bible, am I right?
That's my Sunday morning.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Garfield? I don't know, baby. The Far Side? Look, this guy loves cows.
He does love cows, and the cows are sort of like the cows look like his people. It's funny.
The cows look like people, but they're not people. It's
No,
so
they're animals, barnyard animals.
oh man, but what if?
What if?
What if? It sounds like I'm dunking on the Far Side, but the Far Side rules.
You're listening to Comic Tuesdays.
Yeah, Comic Tuesdays, baby, here on the Island Shuffle.
It comes out every Thursday.
We should make a note of every like podcast within this podcast that you accidentally started and spin one of those off into. We should we're planting a lot of seeds for our eventual podcast empire.
Well,
right
that's
now.
the thing. I feel like this show should mirror Lost, so we should plant as many seeds as possible and follow up on
A couple of them.
a couple of
A
them.
handful of them.
Like 3 out of 100.
And definitely not in a way that is as rewarding as it seems like.
No, exactly.
It's been. It feels so good to be dunking back on Lost again. God, it really feels like
I love that. That's your quote of the year.
Yeah,
Duncan.
2018 is the year of Duncan, baby.
Year of the dunk.
Year of the dunk. Undertale brought back Duncan for me in a big way.
The Undertaker?
The Undertale video game. Because there's an opportunity for you to die in that game in a way where the game over message, instead of being like you have to, don't give up now, try again, it's possible for you to get a game over message that just says get dunked on. And so for a while I was big into saying get dunked on a lot.
Oh, that's sick.
And then it kind of fell to the wayside. And then I spent the holidays watching a lot of basketball, so now it's back in a big way. I'm back on the dunk train.
We're back on the dunk train here on the Island Shuffle.
Here on the Island Shuffle, we may never get off the dunk train.
I don't see why we would at this point. It's a quick moving train.
Come on, ride the dunk train and ride it
all night long.
Aren't we talking about a show though? What's happening?
So the bad man killed a lady.
The bad man killed a lady. And
so Echo's like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to sell the vaccines.
Yeah, I'm just going to sell the vaccine and spend that money how I want to. Nothing comes of that.
No, he goes to talk to someone and he's like, hey, I'm going to sell the vaccines. And the person's like, okay.
Yep, and then that's that. And then we get another scene where the bad men show up in the church. And
bad men in the church.
And he says, and they say, hey, come on, buddy. It's time to chop off your hands already.
Yeah, give me those vaccines. I want the vaccines.
I want the vaccines. I want to mention that before this scene happens, there's like Eko also talks with the lady who runs the clinic.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, you guys are okay with this arrangement? And she's like, I mean, they fetch a high price. We get we get to keep some of the vaccines. It's better than nothing. Don't cross these men, Eko. So what does Eko do?
He crosses them.
He crosses them.
He makes like Jesus and crosses.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. Oh my gosh, religion. Someone went to Sunday school.
A little religion.
A little religion. Little religion.
Little religion. So the men come in and they're like, oh, the guy's all like, I don't want to kill a priest, so I'm only going to chop off your hands.
Yeah, that's a way around religion, I guess.
And they put Eko down, and his hands are out in front, and they're tied up, and he has the machete. He's about to chop Eko's hands, and then, boom, Eko action stars into action.
Yep, he does all the classic action moves of bopping him right at the... He does all the, like, frame-perfect counters.
He hits one person, and then he hits another person.
And then they are disarmed, and he holds the knife. The machete, the blade?
Oh, yeah, the blade.
And
he wields it.
He wields it. And what does he do with that blade?
He yields it.
And who does he yield it on?
The bad man who killed the lady.
Yep. He chops his 2 henchmen, and then he goes to chop the 3rd one, and Buddy's like, no, please. And he says, you don't know who I am. And then slam, chop him. And then he pulls a pretty wild move.
Crazy move.
Huge move coming up from Eko after killing 3 gangsters in a church. Is he staggers out of the front door of the church in broad daylight, covered in blood, with a knife in one hand and a gun in the other. Where'd the gun come from?
That is the question, right? At no point was a gun in play.
No, he doesn't have it.
But now he has a gun.
Now he has a gun. And everybody's like, "Whoa, this new priest seems like bad news." and Echo is like standing there looking, as one does after committing 3 very brutal murders, haggard and like, "Oh God."
Yeah, he's a little disturbed, I would say.
He's not happy about it.
Yeah.
And then the final scene we get is Echo leaves the church, and then they immediately start boarding it up.
Yeah. They're like, well, it's not a holy place anymore.
Exactly. It's not sacred because a bunch of dudes are killed in there. And
Which
like
is
fair.
I think that's weird.
And then the clinic ladies.
It was a sacrifice to God.
Yeah.
Isn't like burning shit on the altar a thing? Sacrifices on the altar.
Sometimes I don't know in Christianity how much of that thing that is.
I think that might have been a bit of an Old Testament-y thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Echo is an old soul, as we like to call them, the type that kills in a church.
Oh man, remember the good old days?
Yeah, back when that was just a thing you could do.
But Echo learns the hard way. You can't murder in a church
anymore.
Which is why you sometimes I think the clinic lady is like, "You didn't do anything. Those guys are going to be replaced with more bad guys. Also, you owe your brother a church." Which is why sometimes you see him building a church.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's Echo's life.
That's funny. Sometimes you just see him building a church.
Sometimes you just see him building a church. It's just one of those. It's literally just one of those things he just starts doing. And like, how some characters are just like doing laundry,
yeah,
or like fishing, or like stoking a campfire. Sometimes he's just
building a church.
Sometimes Echo's just building a church. Anyways, that's Echo's backstory. Where do you want to start with Echo's main story, because it makes up the bulk of this episode.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Echo passed out in a tent like he always is. Everyone's taking care of him.
One thing you gotta know about Echo, he's always passed out in that tent.
Echo got way too lit the night before.
Oh man.
And now he can't even speak.
New Year's Eve, am I right,
and
fellas?
then Saeed and Charlie, they're like taking care of him. They're like, "Echo, can you hear us?" And it's ambiguous as to whether or not they can. And then they leave for a second. What's Echo do? Lights the tent on fire.
He does, but not before seeing a vision
of his brother,
of his dead brother, who says it's time.
Brother, where art thou?
And he sees George Clooney, John Turturro, and the other fella, and they all whisper, "Time to hear your confession, partner."
Yes, partner.
Why don't you follow us on a madcap journey across 1920s era Mississippi, and we'll have all kinds of wacky vignettes happen together.
Hell yeah.
And Echo says, "Hell yeah," and they do, and it's great.
That was a little segment.
Yeah. But that's not what really happens. We're sorry for lying to you. He sees his brother Yemi, and Yemi says, "Time to hear your confession." And Echo's like, "What?" And the tent is set on fire.
What?
And when they pull him out of the tent, and Echo's like, not delusional, but like not in a state. He's just like muttering, "My brother, my brother."
Delirious.
And my brother, and me. It's my favorite podcast.
Any other brother entertainment things that we could name?
Can't think of one.
No, I think we named the 2.
I think that's why the McElroys are such a hit.
Hell yeah.
So the and
the Macklemores and Ryan Lewis.
The Macklemores and Ryan Lewis go to jail. So Mr. Macklemore, Mr. Eko, they set him aside, and literally like a second later, we see Locke arrive, and Locke says like, "What the heck happened? Where's Mr. Eko?" And Charlie's like, "Oh, he's right over." Go, wait! He's not there.
He's gone.
He's gone. He staggers out. And he spends most of this episode just staggering through the woods.
Yeah.
Hallucinating a bunch of crazy shit.
Yeah.
A bunch of ghosts from his past say, "Confess." And he goes, "Whoa!"
There's so much time wasted. You could probably make a 10-minute montage of, like, Echo is ambiguously injured, going through the woods,
staggering. The camera's low, and so it's very disorienting.
And just random people telling him to confess.
We actually see the gangsters that he ends up mutilating show up and almost kill him. And but then they got replaced with the altar boy, and the altar boy does a shush, and they are like, whoa. And at one point he goes to the lake and he sees the smoke monster appear almost, and then it's so that's most of Eko's thing. That's how Eko spends this episode, really.
Yeah, it's crazy.
At one point, Locke meets up with him, and they have a chat about like what exactly is going on, and nothing really comes of it.
That's really. That. Yeah. Then they like part their separate ways.
They go their separate ways. Eko goes to the plane where Yemi is, and he finds that Yemi's body is not there.
Lost the body.
Lost the damn body.
Yeah.
And finally, Eko ends up going to this vision of Yemi.
Yeah. In a field of flowers.
In a field of flowers, in a really striking scene, actually. He goes and he basically says, I'm ready to give my confession, baby. You ready to hear this crazy shit? Because guess what? I don't ask for forgiveness because I have not sinned.
Yeah, Eko.
I did what I needed to survive.
It was sort of lit.
I made a choice so that my brother could live a steadfast life. And I don't regret this choice. I don't regret any of my choices. And I didn't really lead the best life, but, you know, you play the hand you're dealt.
You play the hand you're dealt.
And he's like, all right. And Yemi says, all right. Guess what, sucker? I'm not really Yemi. And then he
walks away.
He walks away. And who comes out?
The smoke monster.
Smoke monster. This is our first time seeing the smoke monster really wail on anything.
Yeah. Smoke monster picks up Eko.
We saw the smoke monster fuck up the pilot, actually.
Yeah, the pilot was...
He doesn't count.
He deserved it.
Yeah, he crashed the plane after all.
Exactly.
So
killing all those people.
Yeah, he killed so many people. Yeah.
He beat up Eko.
He beat up Eko really badly, so badly that Eko dies. He killed Eko.
Yeah, Eko dies.
Yeah, Eko dies. R.I.P. Mr. Eko.
R.I.P. Mr. Eko.
We'll miss you.
We'll miss you.
You had a good season where you had brought a lot of cool stuff to the table.
A lot of cool stuff to the table.
Eko's like a classic.
Sorry, I'm just echoing to honor his spirit.
Oh boy. Oh, what a bit.
Yeah, what a bit.
What a bit. I really was just ready to keep going too. You could have gotten away with doing that for the rest of the episode.
It would have not been an enjoyable listening experience.
Hey, if they wanted an enjoyable listening experience, they would be listening to Lovable Favorites, a very delightful podcast. Hey. Hey.
Or U2. Or
just U2. Just the band U2. I love whenever I listen to U2, I think how enjoyable.
I'm having a great time.
I'm enjoying myself. Where do the streets have no name, I wonder. So I guess do you want to give how do you feel about Eko dying like that?
I was fine with it.
I didn't love it. At the time, I remember not liking this episode. I like it more in retrospect. Yeah. As corny ass as the spooky Eko. It's executed pretty well, I guess. I don't know.
I would be more disappointed if I didn't know. I think you had mentioned before about how the actor who played Eko didn't want to do the show anymore.
That's exactly right.
So that sort of forced their hand a little bit. And then, but otherwise, I would be a bit disappointed that he's a more interesting character than a lot of the characters.
Yeah.
And his death is pretty abrupt and a little bit shitty, but I guess it sort of was a logistical thing.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel I don't hate it as much as I used to, but it feels very just good, we got to get this guy out of here.
Yeah.
And you learn a bit about how the smoke monster can fucking take bodies, I guess. This is, I think, the first time we see that. But we also, at the time that you watch this, you don't know.
You don't really learn that. Yeah. It's slightly alluded to, maybe, but you don't really learn that.
Exactly. It's just kind of felt like a weird bullshit thing where it's half the episode is just Eko roaming through the jungle, and then he dies.
Yeah.
And it's this sucks. Anyways, we have other parts of the episode to talk about.
There were even more parts to this episode.
Let's talk about
Do you want to do Locke and them?
Yeah, let's do Locke and them. So, Locke and Desmond and I think Saeed are sitting around. Desmond's eating a mango off a knife, as one does.
Desmond is like mouth on knife action. It's really crazy. It's like a dagger too.
It's like a dagger, and he's just like sucking on it.
It's crazy.
And
Desmond's lips are all over the blade.
Desmond just loves to suck that blade.
He loves sucking the blade.
Oh man. Also, can I say, this might be my favorite Desmond look, is the season 3 like striking blue shirt that's like buttoned almost all the way down for some reason.
I liked his crazy look in the like flash forwards.
Oh yeah, he just looks he has a lot of good looks. Oh yeah, no, Desmond's best look is definitely the like Bono one.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
But this is a good look.
This is definitely
and
like top
tier. The dagger definitely helps.
Yeah, he's eating a dagger with his fucking chest out. Like how you do.
Now that's a true specimen.
That's a true specimen.
One to behold.
Anyways, they're chatting and they're like, "Hey, remember how in the hatch that imploded, there was a computer that could talk to other computers? What if we went to that other hatch with all the TVs and we saw if we could communicate with any of the other hatches? Maybe that might help us find our lost friend Jack."
Hell yeah.
The
show's called Lost after all.
So they do this, and Locke kind of strolls in, and they're like, "Me and Saeed and Desmond, we're going to that station. Anybody want to come?"
And Hurley's like, whoa. Jack never took anyone.
And Locke's like, "Guess who's not Jack? Me."
This guy.
This
also,
guy right
every
here.
single other person.
Most other people are not Jack. Guess who decides to fucking tag along?
Yeah, guess who their 2 recruits are.
It's your favorite characters of all time. Everyone's favorites, memorable boys and girls. It's Nikki and Paolo, baby.
Nikki and Paolo, the 2 shits who ruined the integrity of Lost within one episode.
Yep.
So I guess this was their way of, because this is a couple episodes before Nikki and Paolo destroy the show's integrity with their bullshit subplot about 2 characters who never existed before and have no bearing on the show.
Yes, this is the scenes where you're supposed to be like, wait, who the heck are these guys?
Yeah.
Whoa, I've never seen these guys before. Have they been here the whole time, I wonder?
I guess they've been here the whole time.
I sure hope there's an episode or 2 to clear this whole thing up. And
this is it.
This is it.
And so one of her first lines is Nikki's like, "I want to go." And then Paolo's like, "Really?" And then Nikki's like, "You always say we're never included in anything." And all I can think is like, God, stop.
It's like, it's bad.
Yeah, it's awful.
They also don't do anything.
No, they don't do anything. But they go. Nikki does some stuff.
Oh, yeah, Nikki does. Well, when they go to the station, the Pearl station with all the TVs, they're like, Saeed's like hacking away at the computer, and they're like, doot. And Nikki's like, "Wait a second. Why don't we try turning on these TVs?"
That is actually what happened.
And
there's like 100 TVs in the room, and they only turn on one.
And Locke's like, "Well, guess I'm a dipshit."
Yeah. It's like, yeah, you are.
Yeah. Oh God.
So they turn on another one of the 100 TVs in the room,
and they see some computers. Like old-timey computers, like big honking computers.
They are honking away.
They're honking away. And then what do we see but a man with an eye patch?
Eye patch man. He's scary.
He's scary. And it's a glimpse into one of Season 3's most prominent characters. This is our first time seeing him.
Haven't met him yet. I forget him almost entirely.
I'm glad that this is our first time meeting him. Yeah. Because it's also the first time people would
exactly, meet him. Right? Yeah. And it's just like a scary shot. You don't expect to see him.
Yeah, it's a good, that's how you plant a seed, baby. And they pay off that seed, like, a few episodes later. That's how you do it.
Great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Look at that.
Good work, show.
I'm wholly convinced that Season 3 is like the best season of Lost, maybe the most
probably
consistent one,
is.
Except for the Nikki and Paolo episode.
Which is pure garbage.
It's bad, but everything else, it's a good mix of like everything's insane. No, everything's a little bit wild, but it's still like revealing and paying off answers at like a reasonable-ish rate. And like all the characters are good. The only thing against it is that sometimes the flashbacks are like wheel spinning, and you get like Taco Night stuff where it's just like,
Oh
this
yeah,
doesn't make
Taco
sense.
Night was a season 3.
It
eh?
was. It's the next
That was
episode.
crazy.
It was so much.
I can't do Taco Night.
Bye.
Just do Taco Night. It's fine.
I love how much
tacos are sick.
I love how much we bring up the Taco Night thing as
It
an
was
example.
terrible.
It doesn't make sense.
That can't be like this.
That can't be the stakes.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
It's like she was like, well, either I spend a life running from the law or I do Taco Night. You know what? Taco Night is just too much for me.
It's too much. They're messy. Oh, God.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, boy.
What
So
is this old El Paso shit?
all right. So speaking of wild shit that happens in this episode,
Yeah.
we get a little plot of Jack, who is currently locked away with the others.
Yeah.
This is part of the whole plot where Ben has a tumor and Jack goes to eventually operate on him.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen the episode where he operates on him.
It's a great episode.
Great episode. Fantastic episode. But
You should see that if you haven't.
if you haven't, you should. But for now, here's this episode.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, this one's pretty good too. Don't worry.
It's all right. Basically, Ben shows up and is like, hey, what's up? And Jack's like, hey, I saw your x-rays. You've got a tumor. You're going to die soon, I betcha. And
Ben's like, nuh-uh.
nuh-uh. And then later he's like, oh, you got me.
Yeah.
We were going to do a whole manipulative thing where we convinced you to, we had a whole thing planned, but you found our x-rays. The jig's up. I got a tumor. You're a spinal surgeon. Why don't you just do the damn thing and make it work?
What do you say,
Come
old buddy,
on.
old pal?
Old buddy, old pal o' mine, Mr. Jack Shepard. Please, to tie this into the religion theme, before Ben leaves, Ben is like, hey, do you believe in God? Because guess what? 2 days after I found out I had a tumor, a spinal surgeon fell out of the sky.
Yeah.
So that's got to be, just makes you think, doesn't it?
And it does make you think.
I think a lot about it.
Yeah.
So the final scene of this whole plot, which is really fucking buck wild, is Juliet basically comes in, wheels in a TV, and says, I'm going to play a movie for you. It's To Kill a Mockingbird. It's a classic. Here, I'm going to pop this VHS tape in.
And Jack's like, I don't want to watch a movie, Juliet.
And Juliet's like, you're going to want to watch this movie. Also, hey, I'm sorry that we arrested you. That's what we did. We arrested you, right?
Yeah.
We placed you under arrest.
Put you in the handcuffs, put you in the squad car.
Tossed you in the drunk tank.
Yeah, you've been drunk for 7 days now, Jack.
You gotta take it easy. And I'm sorry, but you really need to operate on Ben. He's a good man. He's our leader. I care about him so much. But guess what's playing on the tape? What's playing on the tape?
It is Juliet. She's got these cards, like these big cards.
You know that one scene in Love Actually? Or you know the video for Subterranean Homesick Blues?
I don't know either of those.
You know the thing, the gag or the goof where someone, I guess, never mind. It happens here, so it's just better to explain what's happening in this scene then.
She's got those big cards,
Yeah.
and they've got words on them.
She's got words on them, and she's like holding one up and then like removing them one by one. And they're all like, ignore everything I'm saying. Ben is a liar. If you do this surgery, make it look like an accident.
Yeah.
No one would ever know. And
Kill
I would
Ben.
protect you.
Yeah.
And it is and like you see like cuts of like Juliet giving this impassioned plea.
It's cool.
And the cassette it's a huge power move from Juliet.
It's cool.
It rules.
Yeah.
But it also is a like knowing what we know about how the others lived their lives. How the fuck did Juliet get away with that?
Oh, I know. Exactly. And she was just walking around with like that super incriminating videotape, and her house is just like full of these signs that say "Kill Ben."
full of mutinous Bristol boards.
She was just like locking herself up in the house, put down all the curtains, and just gonna make my videotape.
Yep, just gonna get this videotape manufactured.
But it was cool.
And that's a fun little goofy ass thing. That's the episode.
That was it.
That's the whole damn episode, I'm pretty sure.
I think so too.
How did you like this episode?
I thought it was fine. I thought it was very like middle of the pack Lost.
Mm-hmm.
I will miss Eko,
Yeah.
and I wish he didn't die so soon.
I know, right? That's one of the great disappointments. I always wonder, like, what the show would have been like if he'd stuck around and they'd like kept building him up as a like anti-Locke or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. Because he's like such a different force than Jack and Locke, but almost an equal force. Whereas everyone else is so complimentary to both of like those characters.
Exactly.
And happy to help out in whatever way they can.
Exactly.
Eko is on his own path, and it's great.
It really feels like Eko's on his own path, and it's such a shame that it just like snaps off this way.
Yeah.
That said, there's a lot more to like about this episode than I remembered. Like, all the flashbacks are sick. The scene where Eko does the damn dirty deed
is
crazy.
Very cool.
It's very cool and crazy. There's enough like crazy moments in this episode to like keep it worthwhile. The scene where he dies is pretty wild. The scene where he confesses is like very.
That was
like,
a good scene.
It's a good.
There's emotion tied to it.
It's a good send off to Eko. I think is that
yeah.
confession scene.
Absolutely.
The scene where Juliet does the like cue cards thing is
that's
really
a great
wild. There's enough moments for this to be like a good episode.
Yeah, a lot more good in this episode than there is in most Lost episodes.
Exactly. Yeah. I was really ready to be like, well, here's a snoozer, but it was a goodie.
Yeah, you snooze, you lose. You know.
That's true. What do you say we roll for the next week?
Oh yeah, let's find out what we're gonna look at.
I'm going to head to random.org.
I'll just look up list of Lost episodes.
Now, this will be our 30th episode out of 121, potentially. Which is to say that we've once we roll this, we will have rolled effectively a quarter of the Lost.
Of the show.
A quarter of the whole damn show.
And we still have not gotten a Jack or Locke episode.
So if it doesn't come up now... It's never coming up.
It's never coming up. We might just save them all for
the finale.
Yeah.
Which would be cool and thematically appropriate.
It would.
49?
49.
I want to say we might have done 49 already, but let's find out.
What are we looking at here? 49 is the second part of Live Together, Die Alone.
Oh, we have done that.
We have done that.
Yes.
We didn't do the first part,
We didn't do the first part. All right, I'll roll
Let's
again.
re-roll.
87.
87. Whoa, what's that? Season
4, maybe?
Season 5, Episode 1.
Season 5, Episode 1?
Featured characters? None.
Fuck Jack and fuck Locke.
Fuck Jack and fuck Locke.
Soy's the protagonist, baby.
The numbers chose no one over Jack and Locke.
What's that episode called?
It is called Because You Left.
Okay, we're kicking off season 5. Great.
That's great.
Awesome. We're going to go just dunking head first back into the wild shit.
Well, I'm really looking forward to this one.
Me too, honestly. I can't wait. It's been a thrill to come back to this show after so long. By so long, I mean like 2 weeks. But
2 weeks. It was a long 2 weeks.
It was a long 2 weeks. Happy New Year to one and all. Thanks for listening to our goofy ass, silly ass show about a show called Island Time. And like we say at the end of every episode,
get